what's up? Tyler Watson here, and today I'm going to do a review on what's called dowsing. It's a super simple technique, but it does require a little bit of finesse, and it is super powerful. So if you would like to learn this technique, I'm going to share with you a little bit of how to do it, why it works, why it doesn't work, when you should use it, when I've gotten results, when I haven't gotten results, and if you want to see, there's a video down below in the comments that compares like 6, 7, 8 different techniques against each other and which one I think rules them all and which one's the best out of the best. So I love dowsing. Dowsing is amazing, and it's all about your brain, all about how you think, how you feel, and your intentions. For some people, now a little bit of background on dowsing. My dad is a master dowser. I first learned from him, and then as I was studying it and getting better and better, I learned from a guy named Raymond Grace, and in my opinion, he's one of the best dowsers in the world. Super cool guy. If you want to check out his stuff, it's super awesome, super valuable, and it'll help you get results. He's been a key mentor in my life and really appreciate everything he's taught me. So, dowsing has nothing to do with this and everything to do with this. And some key principles that you have to know when using dowsing is the following. Number one, everything's energy. So everything, my thoughts, my feelings, my results, my lack of results, everything is energy, has a frequency, a pattern of energy to it. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred. Okay, so if you have something that's not ideal, using energy, you can transform it to something else. So it's kind of like if you look at electricity, you can take electricity, transform it into something that does work and something that produces a result. Similar concept, but with something unseen, which is our thoughts and our intentions and our emotions. Okay? So how does this work? Dowsing. You have to at least have a belief that this will work for it to work. That's one of the downsides. If you don't believe it'll work, you're probably going to not get a result, because you're right, that counters the very thought of it working. So how do you douse? Well, it's a couple ways. First off, you train the pendulum, and you can have anything. It's just some rocks on a chain here, okay? And you have to intend that you're going to get results or answers by a swinging a pendulum, okay? And if you have negative thoughts or feelings around a pendulum, you can go through and redefine that, change it. I have other videos on how to do that. But if this offends you because you've probably had a negative experience around it, it's a positive thing for me, because all it is a chain and some marbles on it, okay? So here we go. When I am going to scramble something, it is going to spin counterclockwise. If I want to add something or change something into a positive, it is going to go clockwise. And I get it, probably you're seeing it in reverse, but just know, counterclockwise, scramble negative. If you want to add something, it's going to go positive or clockwise. Okay? So dowsing, some of the things that I've used it on, I used dowsing one time to improve the gas mileage in my vehicle. So my wife and I were driving down to Florida when I first got married, and I thought, well, hey, if everything's really energy, I wonder can I improve the gas mileage? And sure enough, it went up 5 to 8 miles per gallon and got better gas mileage than before after I doused. Other things it's helped with, I've used it on getting rid of dog allergies with people. I've used it on manifesting money. I've used it on finding objects. I've used it on changing how the body responds to sugar, the pancreas, how it responds to sugar. So all sorts of cool stuff you can use it on. And if you believe it, you could probably change it, okay? It really comes down to the power of your mind and belief in change. Sometimes ignorance is good for this, because then if you don't know you can't change it, then you might be able to change it. And that's a cool thing. So let's say I have a headache and I don't want my headache anymore. So I could say, the question, how to do this is, may I, can I, should I, regarding my headache, address my headache. And what I'm doing is yes will go clockwise, no will go counterclockwise. That's how I've programmed it. So when I say it, I just give it a swing, and I say, may I, can I, should I regarding this headache? And it goes, yes. Okay. Any reason not to? No. So see how it went the other way? Okay. So now I know doing this, I have permission. Then I'm going to ask, regarding this headache, will dowsing be able to decrease my headache? Will it do any good? Will it decrease it? Yes. Will it not? No. So now I can check, and I like to check opposites when checking things and asking questions. And dowsing is a lot about the questions and how you phrase it and the power of the words that you use. So then let's say I could scramble. So I'm going to just say, okay, regarding this headache, I'm going to scramble any and all pain. I'm going to scramble the frequency of this headache. I'm going to scramble any physical, mental, emotional, or chemical blocks that might be contributing to this headache. I'm going to scramble any negative effects due to dehydration, due to feeling not good enough, trying to prove myself. So see, and the thing with dowsing is the more you allow yourself to address the things, the more powerful it'll be. So with my background, I can go into a lot of these things. Now, there are like charts and things to ask, and like here's some categories that you can check. But in general, you can literally just take what you have, scramble any of the negative things, and just say any of the negative stuff that could come out. With dowsing, perspective really helps. So seeing it done multiple times, multiple ways from different people, can give you ideas of what to douse and change. So when you're done scrambling all those things, I just imagine in my mind taking all the energy of that, breaking it down, and putting it into nothing. It's just like little particles. And when it's done, it'll literally stop. So it'll spin, and then when it's done, it'll slow down and it'll stop, and it'll go back to center. So that means you're done. Okay? Otherwise, you could just meditate on it and think about it forever, and you could spend days and weeks and months hoping that you're done. So the pendulum helps you know when something's complete, when you're done. Make sense? Okay. So now that's how you scramble. So let's say going back to the headache. So now we have all this energy that's broken down. And you could add on to it whatever you feel like might be contributing to the headache, or things that you might not even know are contributing. You could do that. Let's scramble anything that I'm not aware of that could be contributing to this headache or this neck pain or whatever that you're scrambling. Okay? So then you're going to scramble it, and I'm actually doing some on my neck because I had some neck pain for a second. So I was scrambling that. Okay, now we're done. Now we're going to take that energy and add whatever we want. So with this, we're going to add healing, balance, light, forgiveness, feeling okay about myself, confidence, good posture, and then you'll just do it until it's done. And there it goes. So that's as simple as dowsing gets. And you can get into a lot more advanced stuff, but that's the basics. Is to scramble something, it'll swing left. Add something, it'll swing right. And it's all about your mind. It has nothing to do with this, everything to do with this. If you believe it, you could change it. If you don't believe it, you're probably right. So Raymond, he's shared a lot of cool things that he's done it on, from somebody sprayed their field with some really bad chemicals, Roundup, and the alfalfa died. And he didn't even know it was dead. And so the guy was like, hey, can you do something to my alfalfa? He's like, I think so. So he scrambled all the negative effects of Roundup and any of the chemicals, and he just went on all these things, of all things he could scramble, right? Due to the Roundup. And then after it was done, then he just added and turned it into fertilizer and boosted that to where he changed the frequency of the negative thing and into a positive thing. And it was cool. The results he showed was like that guy ended up getting 4 to 6 different cuttings that year off of his alfalfa, and it was the most he'd ever gotten ever. So I was like, holy cow, I wonder what this will work on. So I love dowsing. It's one of my go-tos. I use dowsing mainly for um, energies that affect groups or big things. So if there's a lot of stuff happening, like fear of, if I just feel like fears of stuff going on, or like in a certain location of it's all anxiety or fearful, or there's like wrecks happening all the time, I like to use it for bigger things that involve a lot of people or a lot of energies. Because you can just literally just take it, scramble it all, and then transform it into something cool. I've also done it on, car, I had a car once that broke down, and I was gear shifting, and as I shifted gears, it started to grind, and I was like, and I don't know a whole lot about cars, but I knew that was not good. So I thought, oh shoot, maybe I could douse to see if this will improve. And so I asked, may I, can I, should I, any reason not to regarding my car? And it said yes. Any reason not to? No. And will dowsing improve its ability to function? And it said yes. Cool. Will it not? No. Sweet. So I'm going to do it. So I actually took a printout. I went and printed off all the parts to the gear shaft and everything, because I'm not a tech person. I don't know any mechanic stuff. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, go give me a negative when I get to the issue. And I was testing and looking through it, and I got to this screw and it started to spin. I was like, maybe that's it. And then I back off of it, goes back, I touch it, goes back. I'm like, oh, maybe it's that screw, that bolt there. So then I thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna scramble any and all negative effects of this bolt, any of it's not fulfilling its purpose or purpose of creation. I'm going to scramble any grinding, any negative feelings or emotions that may have contributed to this. I'm going to scramble any and all resistance to change. I'm going to scramble feeling like it can't be where it needs to be. And so I just went on all this stuff for like 10 minutes of anything that could be affecting it. Then I added and gave it the command to go in its spot to fulfill its purpose of creation, to be happy, and to allow my car to work at its fullest potential, and just on and on of anything that I could think about, and sent that in with my thoughts, with my mind, imagining it, visualizing it, and then when I was done, it stopped. Boom. So then I thought, well, okay, I'm going to drive it. And I drive my car, and as I'm driving, it's still grinding, and I'm like, well, I did what I can, and we'll see. So I also went to the mechanic just to double check, and I was like, hey, can you help me figure out what's wrong with this? And this is when I had no money, and I just had my mind. So I was like, okay, we're going to see if I can work this, because I don't have any money to fix this, unless it's like $100. So I take it to them, and they're like, oh, well, there's this screw, this bolt that's loose, and we're going to have to remove the whole transmission thing and re-bolt it down, and then it'll all be fixed. And I was like, how much is that going to cost? And they're like, it's like $800. And I was like, So then I just asked, and I was like, okay, was my dowsing effective? Yes. Will I need to get this repaired? No. Will my intention in dowsing be able to hold it in place and have it change? Yes. So I was like, okay, well, thanks for your opinion. They raised it up and told me, and it was the exact bolt that I pinpointed on my map that I printed out. I was like, well, at least I got something right. And when they lowered it down, I got in my car, and as I was driving away, it ground once or twice more, and then it stopped. And I was like, it felt fluid, everything worked. And it worked for over a year more until I sold it to my brother. And so dowsing is a really cool thing. I love dowsing. It's one of my top 3 modalities that I use. And if you do want to see how it compares to other modalities, I have a video down below in the links in the comments that compares dowsing with other techniques, and which one out of all of those I feel like is the most superior, the easiest, and the most effective to use. So if you want to see how this compares against others, go ahead and click that link. It's a great video, shows all the different techniques and how they compare and which ones to use. So dowsing, I wouldn't use it. The downside is some people has no effect because they just don't believe it. And so it's really hard to trump non-belief with dowsing because it is such an intentional process. And that's like the main downside to it. Also, it can be just depending on your level of education. Sometimes it requires more education. Sometimes it requires less, depending on your belief systems and what's actually stopping you. So I use it to scramble negative energies and frequencies in my home. I use it to change overall feelings. I use it to change results in my business at times. I use it, if anything's off, then I just take the energy of that thing, scramble it, and add success, prosperity, light. I use it on my water. I use it on all sorts of stuff. So, super awesome technique, one of the best on the planet, but it does make a difference who the practitioner is, if they're really open and aware, and if they're really specific and very intentional. So, practice it. The more you practice and tune into your level of transformation and focus, the more effective dowsing will be. So give it a shot. And if you want to see that video, be sure and check in the comments and it'll compare dowsing to other techniques. And again, Tyler here. Thanks for joining me. Be sure and like this video if you've enjoyed it and share it with somebody. Make their day and hopefully it'll help them in their life. So if you have questions or comments, reach out, put it in the comments below. And thank you so much and we'll see you soon.